pop culture. Everything is permitted.
Welcome to episode 39 of Everything is Permitted here at Wade's Comic Madness. I'm your host, Julian Brown, alongside my co-host, the Man of Steel, Matt Reppert, the Master of Puns, Brittany Tomes, and our special guest, Billy Peitz. Welcome back to the show.
Hello.
How you been?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me back.
You're very welcome, and as always, how we doing?
Great. I still love that new intro. There's a part where like the song breaks and it's so dabbable.
You dab like a rock star.
Which is great because everybody's just sitting there kind of like chilling, bopping to the music, and then I'm just like, and dab.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Oh my God.
You make me strive to have your energy.
Most people do.
Yeah,
I don't really even have sugar today, so you're welcome.
I would actually even recommend including the Mandalorian part every single time.
Every single
that was
episode,
really
right?
cool.
Every single time.
Okay.
I have it on here. We could listen to it again, but I think people would just turn the show off. Maybe not. Maybe they like it. We were talking before the show how awesome that score is.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people. I've seen like a little bit of divisiveness. Like one of my really good friends who I've known through Star Wars fandom was like, the score is generic TV. It's not good. I'm like, man, I have spoken.
What scores is he listening to on TV?
I know.
Do they have really good budgets?
I love the score. Anyway, this week on our show, if you don't know, Billy was one of our awesome, generous crowdfunding donors and had the opportunity to pick a topic for us to discuss. Now, normally we would have just discussed it, but Billy doesn't live too far away, so we welcomed him back on to discuss the show in person and his topic. And Billy, tell us a little bit about what we are going to be covering today.
Sure. So today we're going to be talking about games as a service. So, for those who are unfamiliar with like that term, it kind of just means like, generally speaking, like a massive multiplayer game where the world is constantly evolving, and usually there's some form of, like microtransactions or monetary addition to that game in order to keep enticing players to keep coming back and keep playing over and over again instead of getting rid of it or moving on to something else. And one of the reasons why I picked this topic is because I listen to other gaming podcasts, and a lot of people always talk about games as a service and the features that are involved or keep getting put out, but nobody, not that I've seen, talks about like really what's that impact on the industry, what's that impact on gamers, like what are really some of like just normal people's like opinions on those types of games, because they're very prevalent right now.
They are. They absolutely are, and it's something that I think Matt and I and Brittany have been very concerned about, and I'm happy that we're devoting a whole kind of segment to the show about it. So this is a great idea on your part, so thank you. And also, since you've been here last, thank you for helping get us all of this. This is, you helped us get here. So,
I thought you were pointing to Wade's basement. And I was like, oh,
I
really?
secretly own
Thank
this
you,
place.
Thank you, Wade's
I think
basement.
that is a whole Indiegogo campaign, a separate Indiegogo
We should
campaign.
fund, help
I'm
Wade get
actually
his shit
Wade.
together.
That would be
I love that, man.
that would be awesome. So yeah, Wade, this is for you. Oh no!
Damn.
I
Oh my
lied.
God.
I lied.
Wade's gonna be
I'm
offended
actually going to
now.
give Wade a real one. I screwed up. Here we go, Wade. This is for you. I lied.
Get your shit together.
There we go. Even though I did come to the unfortunate revelation, guys, that Rick and Morty is not for me.
Yeah, you're a terrible person. I'm sorry.
Can we also appreciate the fact that Julian was so prepared for one of my puns that his first line was just like destroying me, and then he realized he was going to, do a different sound for someone and mess it up.
Instead, he inadvertently
I always
destroyed
keep it
Wade.
on page one,
I know.
which has
It's like, here
all
we
of like
go.
the sad, but I'll actually keep it on here because this has some of the real shame ones that I know you're gonna bruise something up. But also on our show this week, we are going to, and I know Brittany's ridiculously excited about this. We saw Dr. Sleep, the Shining sequel, a few nights ago, and we loved it.
I'm still thinking about
We didn't
that
see it a
movie.
few minutes ago, to be fair.
Did I say a few minutes ago?
You said a few minutes ago.
We saw it a few days ago.
This week has been wild.
It has been a wild week. Mandalorian, Jedi Fallen Order, Dr. Sleep.
It's been a good week in everything but like my actual life. like work is like meh, but then like TV and everything else is like whoa.
Anyway, we were completely blown away by Dr. Sleep, and we're really excited to be reviewing that as well. But before we get into that, it is time, as always, for some rants and raves. And Billy, you're a guest. Do you have a rant or rave that you would like to rant or rave about?
Sure. I have I have two, if you allow me.
I will indulge you. Yes.
One mini rave, Jedi Fallen Order. Got it. I played about 6 hours so far. It's a lot of fun. It's really nice to get back into a single player story driven Star Wars game. The combat is making me play a game in a way that I'm not used to, and at times it's frustrating, but it's also, even though I'm yelling at the TV sometimes and cursing at it, I'm not mad at the game. I'm mad at myself for making that mistake. But I'm really enjoying it. I can't really say too much more after that because I haven't put a whole lot of time into it. So that's like my mini rave. Looking forward to keep going to that. My rant, though, is that I recently got a Switch, and I'm really liking my Switch. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. Black Friday's coming up. They got some pretty good game deals and whatnot. But due to the nature of the Switch being a portable console, I want digital games. But
yeah.
the sales are all for physical.
Yeah.
So like Target has their Black Friday, which is, they're going to have Breath of the Wild, Odyssey, a few other ones. They're going to be like half off, $30. And I was like, oh, great. I'm going to pick up a few of those. But it's all the physical.
And it's like the little cartridges.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you lick them, it like ruins your life for about 10 minutes.
What?
They're
You're never supposed to lick. Just
their child
blow on
their child safety. They come coated with something that if you taste it, it like just completely ruins your mouth for like 5 minutes.
Wow.
Okay,
it.
then.
Is that really that
So-
safe for children?
I mean, no, it's like, well, that's a
I
good
was just
point.
messing
Yeah.
Julian, have you licked a cartridge? That's-
Yeah,
Obviously.
we Facebook Lived it because we wanted to know, and it was not a fun experience.
Taste test.
Yeah. I will say, Billy, for the Switch, I have a Switch, and if you can deal with getting the cartridges, Breath of the Wild and Odyssey are some of like the most fun I've had in video games. It took me a while to get into Breath of the Wild, but it's really good.
Yeah, no, I know for a fact I want them. It's just more now like, am I just going to be okay then having some cartridges, some digital? I mean, I know that's, first world problems, but
Hashtag.
You should have said it took you a while. That's not even worth one. Don't even press a button.
I give you a Mother of God.
Okay, I'll take one.
Yeah, that's
Take
it.
one for the team.
I'm mixed. I have discs for my PlayStation, and I have digital on my PlayStation. Matt is a physical only. I don't know about Brittany.
I'm a mix right now with my PS4. Like if there's really good deals on, I'll get things digitally. I like having physical copies of games, but at the same time,
I'm
with
leaning
systems
towards.
memory is all weird.
Yeah.
Who really knows what's better now?
I'm leaning towards what Billy's doing and going straight digital, and I'm going to get to that in my rant in a little bit. But yeah. So, but Switch is fun, man. Did you get a Switch Lite or a regular Switch?
no, I got a regular Switch. And I was going to get it for Black Friday, but the deal that they had that comes with Mario Kart is actually the original Switch.
Oh, nice.
And not
Yep.
that newer version with the better battery.
Yeah.
Switch Lite.
No.
Something.
They like released the Switch again, but with a better battery.
Yeah.
Yeah, not
You
the
get-
Switch Lite.
Yeah. And FYI, it's the red box. All red box.
The
is
all red box.
Yeah. I told the Target guy, I was like, no, the red box. He was like, why not this one? I was like, no.
The red box.
box.
Awesome. Matt, Brittany, who wants to go first?
I'll go.
You go.
Okay, so I have a rant/rave. So the raving part, I got the D&D one-shot for Rick and Morty, which was super fun to play. Loved doing the Rick voice. Like, got super into it. Everybody at the table was having a blast. And even people that didn't really watch the show were like, this is a really weird and fun dungeon, so let's just do it. But as I was flipping through as the DM, pages were just, like, ripping out of the book as I was trying to read through the campaign. So it was really weird. It was like a whole section of like 4 to 5 pages. And I wasn't even doing anything that I wouldn't do in a normal campaign book. I was gently flipping it over, looking at the map, and then flipping over to read another section. And they just like one page fell out. And I was like, that's really weird.
Oh, I saw your
Yeah.
post on
Yeah,
Facebook.
And
I
then-
put up the pictures.
Literally, we'd finish the next page. And as soon as I flipped it over, it tore out. So I was just like, what the fuck? Wizards of the Coast? Like, this isn't normal. So I did tweet them, and I was just like, I sent them a picture, and I was like, I literally, like, this has never happened with a campaign before. Is this normal? Like, are you going to replace it? How's this going? So we'll see. Because, like, the campaigns, they're not cheap. And
No,
I don't
and
know.
if you're spending money for something like that, like it shouldn't fall
Yeah,
apart.
and literally the first time I flipped the page over, like the rule book, it's made with the same binding. So like the rule book was fine, but then the actual campaign book for some reason was falling apart. Hopefully it was just mine, but like I don't know. I haven't heard from anybody else that's got it if theirs is falling.
Well,
apart.
Wade did say that he's going to yell at them too.
That's just Wade though.
Yeah.
I was like, go Wade, go.
Rant rave, sir.
I'll rave also about Jedi Fallen Order. It's basically Dark Souls, but in the Star Wars universe, and I don't like Dark Souls. I'm probably one of the few people walking the planet that doesn't really care for its gameplay. But Fallen Order actually kind of has like I'm determined when something kills me, I'm like, I'm getting my goddamn XP back.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm running all the way through the map, and I'm hunting this dude down, whatever it was that killed me, creature, stormtrooper. I don't care.
Rancor, doesn't matter what.
Haven't bumped into a Rancor yet. I have a feeling that's coming.
Goes against everything like about the Jedi, like not seeking revenge, but you have to seek revenge to go get your XP back.
No, but
My midichlorians.
As much as I've been enjoying the game, though, one thing that I'm kind of like, what is the fact that I felt that the main character, who is played by Cameron Monaghan,
Who played the Joker
in Gotham and all that stuff, is I feel like his character went from like scared, I'm trying to hide Padawan, to fuck yeah, let's take on the Empire, bro. Let's do it. Like he like went almost like over like in like within a few minutes, he killed an ATST and he's like, yeah, let's go. Let's keep doing this. And I was like, wait, what? Like, shouldn't you be like, what the fuck? Jesus Christ.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that he's like, if you go back into, if you're going to call it Legends or the expanded universe, there were definitely some Jedi who wanted to hide and, basically sit it out and wait for whatever was going to happen, whether the rebellion, worked or the Empire just, was in power forever. And then there were Jedi who were like, let's fucking go. Like, we're not going to hide. We're going to fight. And I didn't get the feeling from him ever that, that he wanted to just always sit on the sidelines.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, is that I saw the clip of the scene when Order 66 happens, when his master
I was
does.
just thinking about that. That's why I was zoning out.
And
It's getting real sad. Ayla Secura, when she dies, man, I'm like, oh, biggest betrayal.
But like when Order 66 happens, like he's basically like a preteen almost at that time. So you think that like hiding for his very life for years, he would be like, and I feel like the game could have done a little bit better at establishing the fact that rather than he remembers his lessons and that's how he can do more stuff, rather than I was a Padawan, I didn't know shit.
Right.
Like, I feel like they could have done better with like people like, you're a Jedi. Like, no, dude, I was a Padawan. I barely learned anything.
I do think that like he's a little bit OP for having only been a Padawan and not finished his training, but at the same time I'm okay with it because
I mean,
I want to be a Jedi.
It is what it is, yeah, and I'm enjoying it, and as I said, I'm really enjoying the game though. I really like it a lot. So
I think that is I have it written down here. I'm gonna rant or rave about that as well. I'm first gonna rave about something Brittany keeps reminding me to rave about on the show because
Do I?
yeah, you do. The Funko app.
Oh yeah, the Funko app. This man is the most prepared Funko buyer I've ever seen in my life.
I am. It's true. It's true. So when I go out to the store to go buy my Funko Pops, I don't just like go and be like, ooh, that looks nice. That looks nice. Ooh, maybe let me get that. I have an app, and it's the licensed Funko app, and I can pull up my camera on the app and scan the barcode, and it can tell me how much that Funko is trending for, where I can buy it, et cetera, et cetera. And then, if I have it, I could add it to my collection. It tells me how much my collection is worth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway.
$5.
Well, if it's like a $5 Funko and like they're selling it for $15, like I'm gonna look on eBay and see if I can get it for cheaper.
Yeah.
If it's like selling for $10 normal price and it's trending for $20, like I'm buying that on the spot. Not that I plan on selling them.
I was gonna say, do you plan on? Because the only purpose of that is,
but I like having them. I like having rare items, so it's like a chase for me. So if like I got Second Sister from Fallen Order, and I wasn't gonna buy her, and then it was like trending for 20. I'm like, ooh.
You don't need to justify to me, man.
I know.
You know what I collect.
We should make his middle name Funko. Like, you're already a Funko father. You might as well be a Funko Pop.
That was a good one.
Do your kids approve of your Funkos?
Just like,
I'm so proud, though. It doesn't matter.
I actually like that one. That was a good one.
That was really good. That was
I
really
think
good.
because the setup was good.
Anyway, so if you're also a Funko collector, Brittany wanted me to let you people know that there is a Funko app out there, and it is a great way to track your collection.
Don't use it for dating, though.
What do you mean,
It's not that kind of app.
I mean, I was also going to rave about Fallen Order. I won't, because you guys have already, and I love the game, and it's fantastic. I will rant about my experience with my fucking pre-order for the game, though, because I said it to Amazon, I said it to the world, I said it to Electronic Arts, too. I'm never buying a video game off of Amazon ever again. This was my last straw. Anytime I pre-order a game from Amazon, I have some kind of issue, I don't get my pre-order bonus code, and then you're on support with them on chat, on the phone for literally hours, and they're like, you don't get a code. There's no code. There's no pre-order bonuses from like, I screenshotted a picture and sent it to you. And then they generate a code for you hours later when saying, we'll get back to you in 48 hours. Today's my day off. I'll get back to you on Sunday. I'm like, I'm not playing any more of this game until I have my bonuses.
They gotta call Jeff Bezos and like this dickhead wants a pre-order
They're
code
like, please,
for
please let me go for my
Also,
servitude.
I'm really sick and tired of companies like using offshore call centers. Like it drives me up the wall because like it's not their fault, but they have no idea what they're talking about, and they have to escalate it to probably like stateside anyway. How much is Amazon worth? Just like use a call center where the people actually can help you.
I like one thing that drives me nuts about call centers, and I'm not trying like is when they have a thick accent, and I'm like, and it's hard for me to understand what they're saying sometimes.
I think it's a perfectly acceptable. It's an acceptable gripe. I talked to Karen about it. I was like, I don't want to sound racist or anything, but she's like, it's not racist. It's just like,
and they identify themselves as Robert, and I'm like, I know your name is not Robert.
Oh no,
dude.
I work in a call center where I work with another call center that's based in Mexico, and they always want me to call them Michael instead of Miguel, and I'm like, dude, it's fine. Just tell me your real name.
I have
What are
noticed
they
with
doing to you
Amazon,
there?
they've stopped using the fake names and they've been putting their real names, which at least I like respect.
Thank
Yeah.
God.
But like, you literally, and you even admitted to me, like, I'm not going to be able to help you with my problem. I have to escalate it. I'm like, you shouldn't have to escalate it in the first place. You should be sending those pre-order codes out the day before or the day the game releases. This should never be an issue. And like, this was happening across the board. I was on Reddit and people weren't getting their pre-order bonuses.
That is one thing I do like about buying my stuff through Best Buy is I've never had an issue.
People
with pre-order
were
codes.
complaining about Best Buy pre-order codes as well, but not to the extent of Amazon. Anyway, I think this is also the nail in the coffin for me. Like, I think I'm going straight digital at this point because the minute that you buy something off the PlayStation Store, you get your code and you're good to go.
Not only that,
Oh yeah,
like,
it's automatically downloaded with
yeah,
everything.
I bought it off PlayStation and it preloaded on Wednesday, so I didn't even have to wait that day.
Yeah.
It was already set to go as soon as I got home.
Yep. Yeah, Whiskey, our clan leader, was like, yeah, I had access to my orange lightsaber and like all
Yep,
that stuff right
right
away.
away. Yep.
And
You hear that? He has a clan leader.
wait, Jesus.
Oh yeah, well I'm gonna be part of Rogue Squadron. I might be. I don't know. We'll see. That was a joke.
Black Squadron, all the way, baby. Jaina Solo.
I'll take it. I would actually probably prefer that one.
Yep, she's my hero. Literally, she's my hero. I love her.
Wedge or die, motherfucker.
Oh God. Anyway, Amazon, you have
What
lost
about
my.
Porkins?
I love Amazon. I buy a lot of stuff from there. I will continue to buy stuff from there. Video games is not one of them anymore. Bye bye. No mas.
It's hard when we live in a world where every corporation's evil.
Yes. Hashtag first world
It's like
problems.
which one do we pick?
Anyway, before we get into the permitted minute, I want to announce that we polled everybody and we asked if you guys were going to be interested in a holiday box, a random kind of loot mystery box for the holidays, either as gifts or something that you would find cool for yourselves. Well, it seemed to gain a lot of interest, so we're going to be putting pre-orders up for that today. And the price is going to be around $25 and around $5 for shipping. So keep an eye out for those. We'll have the pre-orders up on our Facebook store. It'll be an item from myself, from Matt, Brittany, and our West Coast correspondent, Heather. We're really looking forward to sending those out to you. So if that's something you're interested in, those pre-orders should be up either right now or later this afternoon. All right, guys, this is perfect. We're right at 20 minutes just about. So with that being said, it is time for
The permitted minute.
not only the permitted minute, it is time for the permitted minute gauntlet. Billy is going to be only the second person to attempt the permitted minute gauntlet.
Nikki succeeded, so
Nikki did.
Billy's
The
got
record
some
is
big
53 seconds.
Yeah.
And Matt, I'm going to have you do it on the watch.
Hang on a second here.
So, and Billy, the way this goes is I'm going to give you a countdown, and after you hear Colonel Ty say Mr. Gata start the clock is when you will go,
Hang on,
and
I
when
gotta-
Matt will hit his button. And
yeah, I'm
gonna
trying to figure out how to reset my damn stopwatch here. It was still running.
to make sure that I have that soundbite ready to go. I do.
The goal is to at least get it
Give
in
them
a minute.
It
The
works
goal is
as
to
well
get
as
it
the
in a minute.
military.
And unlike when we do it, I'm not going to cut you off if you go over a minute, but we'll let you know your time at the end. All right, we are going to go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Mr. Gata, start the clock.
On its launch day, Disney Plus surpassed 3.2 million downloads. It now has over 10 million subscribers since launch day. The Rock officially announced the release date to the Shazam spin-off Black Adam, with the Great One playing the title character, hitting theaters December 22nd, 2021. After 8 years, Arrow filmed its final episode this past week. It'll all culminate in the upcoming Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover event. If you're like Zombieland Tallahassee, you have a strong craving for Twinkies. Good news, you can now eat them in cereal form. The cast for Matt Reeves' The Batman keeps getting stronger and stronger. Andy Serkis is officially playing Bruce Wayne's loyal and trusted butler, Alfred Pennyworth. In casting rumors, Mark Wahlberg is apparently being eyed to play Nathan Drake's mentor and best friend Sully alongside Tom Holland. Finally, in what seems to be a response to Disney Plus's awesome animated catalog, Netflix and Nickelodeon have struck a massive deal to produce new movies and shows.
42 seconds.
I was going to say, I think he did it.
I stumbled a little bit, but
We have a new record holder. Holy crap. I got goosebumps there.
You may stumble, you may fall.
How many
But one day they will join
seconds?
you in the
42.
sun.
42 seconds.
42
Make a mark
seconds.
of that. You have dethroned Nikki. Congratulations.
I think the only way we're going to beat that is if we give me coffee.
Yeah. Records
And
are
it's
meant
just
to
me.
be broken.
The Micro Machine Man comes on.
We will be posting the updated leaderboard on Tuesday, which is today if you're listening. Congratulations. That was pretty good. And I understood everything you were saying. It was like speed, but precise.
Yeah, it wasn't a medication commercial at all.
No, it was not.
okay, good.
Side effects may include bleeding.
Congratulations. That was awesome and well done. Guys, let's get into our main topic. This is Billy's topic. Games as a service. So, Billy, as our guest and as the person who came up with this topic for us, let's start with a brief history of games as a service, and I'll let you kind of take it away. I know you kind of touched on a little bit at the beginning of the show, but
Yeah, so I mean, in preparation for this episode, I wanted to at least get an idea of kind of like how we got to where we are today with games as a service, and some of the elements that are part of games as a service I think we've experienced with for actually quite a long time, but the term games as a service I think is fairly new.
yeah, I would agree with that.
And so I was interested to see like kind of like what that history was, and it kind of goes back to like PCs and expansion packs, and then it kind of morphed into the microtransaction era with the Xbox 360 and their whole storefront that they had there. And then they kind of bundled all that up with like Microsoft points to reduce credit card fees. And then like there was that rise in used games. And so there was this conundrum where publishers had to figure out whether or not they wanted to push out DLC like day one or very close afterwards, or push it later on, but then risk having players handing in their games and not getting to that DLC, and then thus losing extra revenue because game budgets are just increasing over time. Like it's what we see today, like it's like hundreds of millions of dollars are going into these games, and sometimes games make it back like right away. Like Call of Duty will,
Oh, yeah.
Call of Duty will make billions in like the first month, but like then there's some smaller games that may never even see their budget back again.
I watched the video that you sent us in the email, and the biggest takeaway you mentioned just now is, I think that GameStop, who is now starting to kind of, fail and may go out of business, in a way is responsible for this in a huge way. Because like you said, developers weren't making any money. They weren't getting a cut of when you trade in your games to buy new games at GameStop. So that definitely, hurts them because people aren't holding on to the game. So I that was like my one of my big takeaways from this. Matt, I know that you have a lot on this as well.
The thing is that I hate the games as a service model because I know I mentioned it, I think, on one of our rants and raves a few episodes ago, but the interview with Andrew Wilson, who is the CEO of EA, he used the phrase access over ownership. And like, if that like sentence doesn't chill you to your very core, like I don't know what to tell you, because he basically at this extended interview around the time of EA, I believe it was, he kind of espoused that like people just want access to games. They don't care if they own them or not. And to me, like, you're going down a very bad path when you don't, like, when you just stream your games. And that's one of the reasons why I don't have Xbox Game Pass or anything like that. I like to own my game. And I, like, as Julian said earlier, I obviously like to purchase games physically if I can, because there have been numerous instances where licenses have expired on a game or something like that. Like the Turtles in Time remake, the license for the music expired. So Xbox pulled it from their store. Scott Pilgrim versus the World game. Awesome beat 'em up game. Love it. You can't get it anymore because the license is expired. And like, I own both of those games. And like, some people have said like, oh, you go through your purchase history and that's how you're going to download them again. I'm
Nope.
like, my purchase, like, yeah. I mean, like, even if that's remotely possible. Like my purchase history is like over a decade and a half old of shit I've bought online. You want me to dig through like 15 plus years of shit I have bought to find something that I ostensibly own. So, and going to the games of as a service thing though, is that like you only need to look at games like Anthem and stuff like that to see that when the game doesn't pay the way they thought it would, they drop that whole games as a service bullshit. And they basically, they fart out a little bit of content. So if you bought the season pass for like $120 along with the game, congratulations, you just got dick.
Yeah.
And you have no recourse in that. So yeah, I hate games as a service.
Yeah, I think games as a service also, especially involving microtransactions, takes advantage of specific groups of people. Fortnite's cool for being free and all. Like, I was a teacher, I had students that I would bring my PS4 and I would just be like, cool, you can play this for free. Obviously, no one's buying skins or doing anything like that. But especially for kids that have ADHD or certain people that need that sort of reward or constant gain, like literally for their brain, you have kids that go into their parents' like wallet and purse and actually take their credit card and buy tons of things.
Yep.
And they get in trouble for it. Like that has happened. I know for a fact that has happened. And it just takes advantage of people that like feel the need to do that to feel like they're accomplishing more. So you see more and more that people are just like, they physically can't keep up with the amount of microtransactions or things. I'm fine with like occasional DLC. Like
Yes.
I like the Borderlands games. They're complete games normally out on their own, and then they add fun additional DLC.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with, paying that amount because I know they're going to be quality side storylines. But like, there's a definite disconnect between what games are serviceable and what's acceptable to pay for.
Back when DLC was really like becoming prevalent, and I think this is even like beginning middle of like the PS4 Xbox One era. I can't remember the exact title of the game. I couldn't even tell you what kind of game it was. I've played a lot of games, as I think all of us in this room have, but I remember being really pissed off, and we have it here, is there were a lot of complaints about like games coming out, and that day they're announcing, oh, by the way, here's some day one DLC, or here's where DLC's coming next week, and there's the argument, well, why didn't this come in the $60 that I just spent?
Yeah.
Why have you not completed your game? And that was one of my biggest gripes. And we're going to get into that in a little bit about, what works well, what doesn't work well, our own personal experiences. Billy, I wanted to just come back to you real quick and make sure, is there any other thing you want to touch on with kind of the history of games of service before we move on to kind of some of our own experiences with it?
I think like just, from like the initial like microtransaction phase, there came like the season passes, and then to loot boxes, and then there's whole controversies with those that go all the way to the government at times, which I say,
especially overseas.
Yeah, especially overseas.
There's
a
big thing in Britain right now about.
I think Belgium has like completely either outlawed them or like there's some heavy like
because they're calling them gambling.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other conversation too.
Yeah.
And then like kind of to where we are today, which is like loot boxes are still very prevalent in a lot of games, but now they have like these battle passes or these like I guess we'll just use battle pass for like lack of a better word, where there's these reward tracks, and you could either play for free and never put any money in and you'll get rewarded no matter what. But if you give a little money, you'll be put on that, premium reward track, and you're going to be guaranteed a whole lot more rewards for playing. So that also incentivizes people to, all right, I'll give you 10, 15 bucks,
Not to get too far into it, but like we're seeing that right now in Destiny too.
Yeah.
With their season pass. Let's get into some of our own personal experiences. As long as Brittany, you have something to start with, we'll go clockwise here.
Sure.
Personal experiences, whether favorable or not favorable with games as a service.
Yeah. I know that me personally as a player, I stay away from games like as a service, especially when they come to dealing with microtransactions. I don't play a lot of online games with people anymore. I think the last online game I really played was Call of Duty forever ago. I mean, like back in 2010 maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do interact with it when it does come to DLC, and I find more often than not, I end up buying the Game of the Year edition of games.
Right.
Like, it could be also because I'm busy and I don't always have the time for games, so then I wait till the fullest version is out and I buy it, so I get the DLC in there. Like I did that with Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed, the fact that they included the expansion in that. But at the same time, there has been the case where I've bought the games when they come out, and then I know there's going to be DLC content, but I'm already prepared for that. And sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. Like I said, it depends on the game. Like Borderlands, I always get the DLC for that because I know I'm playing with my brother. I know it's going to be fun, goofy stories that don't actually like impact the main game. The bad part is when there are some games that come out and they have what they perceive as the main game, but then the DLC ends up being like actually needed. And that's when it's like, wow, were you really
I'm gonna-
prepared to
yeah.
send this out or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my take on it. But once again, if I know I can't afford it, at least that way, if it's DLC, then I can say like, okay, I'm going to wait till later to buy this or whatever. But I mean, I would never be able to do microtransactions because also like I'm one of those people, I have ADHD. Like even vacuuming my house, like I like seeing the immediate like reward of it. There's so many different things that with whatever I do, that would just be a dangerous path, I think, for me.
No, like what Brittany has said, there's actually documented instances where people who have like gambling or shopping issues, they have actually spent like hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of dollars.
Especially
and,
mobile games. That's what they
it's
get
bad.
old people in mobile games a lot.
yeah, and that's the thing is that, and the game industry actually has a term for these people. They're called whales. And that is a term that they have coined. They use it, and they want to hook the whales, as they say. They want the people that spend the money nonstop. And Jim Sterling, who I have mentioned on this show before, he's a big YouTuber and he covers the game industry. And he has said, he goes, I hate the game industry. And he's like, I love video games, but I hate the game industry. Mm-hmm. And he showed this video from an actual developers conference somewhere in Europe. I forget, I don't remember the guy's name, but he basically broke down how they psychologically try and force people to put money into their games and stuff like that. Not just like, oh, it's a fun thing if they want to spend some money. It's like, no, we want them to see some cool armor piece or something that somebody else has and they want to give us money for. We want that to become the norm, were the guy's exact words. And as I said, like that disgusts me.
Yeah.
There's ads that pop up nonstop on my little cousin's like phones whenever they play a free game.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, because that's how they get you. They
I know,
get
I'm like,
it
don't
clicks
do
and it
that.
takes you automatically
But
into the app store.
Yep.
Children will click that, and
Yep.
they do that on purpose. It's horrible.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I mean, the game industry is like, the game industry is disgusting. Like I've said this before, they are like, for the most part, like pretty much any major developer, EA, like they're gross companies. Activision, Blizzard,
Bungie, all the things.
Oh, not Bungie.
Bungie's all right, actually.
I mean, Bungie broke away from Activision, so I kind of give them a little bit of leeway. But as I said though, is that any major publisher, they have done shady shit.
Oh yeah.
Even Sony and Microsoft have done shady shit with microtransactions, with games as a service. And as I said, like if games as a whole go to this games as a service thing, I might actually stop being a gamer.
Yeah.
And that kills me because video games are like my way of unwinding,
Yeah.
after work and all that.
How about personal experiences for you as for games as a service?
So I can't, because I've played so many games over the years, I can't rattle off specific instances, but there have been times where games that I have very much enjoyed didn't get the sales that they wanted. So guess what? They now aren't doing this DLC rollout that they promised. Like whenever a game has a quote roadmap
Oh, I hate that.
for something, let me tell you right now is that if you really like that game, you better hope it sells well, because like an Anthem is like the most current and most trendy
instance, right?
instance of this, is that their roadmap, they basically have dropped it. And they're just like, okay, we're going to do some other stuff instead of the roadmap that we originally had planned.
Yeah.
And I mean, like famous failures like Fallout 76 is another one where it's like the game is complete garbage and they rolled out $100 a year subscription service for it. And I'm just like, what? Like, why don't you make the game playable and decent before you start saying, well, we'll pay us $100 for a year and we'll give you all this extra shit.
So I guess for the future gaming, we're hoping where we go, there are no road maps. Come on, that was Doc Brown. That was Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Okay, I tried. Whatever. Billy, what do you think?
Yeah.
Well, there are definitely aspects of games as a service that I don't like, but I definitely contribute to them.
Yeah.
Continuing to do what they do. For example, just the other day, and like I said earlier, actually, I recently got a Switch, so I downloaded Fortnite on my Switch, free, and it's like, oh, okay, I can play this at work on my lunch and whatnot, and that'd be fun. And then just this past weekend, they had a Stormtrooper outfit, and I was like,
that's how they get you.
well,
It's like $33, isn't it?
When they had Thanos,
No.
when they had the
Someone
Thanos
said something
skin,
about $33.
all of my students that played Fortnite at my school got the Thanos skin because they just like needed it when that movie came out, and I was just like, you don't even get anything that's really added to your character. You just run around like Thanos, and I was like, and if everybody else is running around with Thanos, do you really want it? Like, it's rough.
Yeah, so I definitely contribute, like especially with Destiny. I pick and choose what I want, but I definitely give them way more money than I probably should give them.
Same.
But I have put so much time into that game and have made like so many friends through that game, and like have really enjoyed myself and engrossed myself in that world in a positive way for the most part. That I in order for them to continue to do what they're doing, especially the good things that they're doing, I'm okay with giving them some extra money for things that will, even though it doesn't increase my gameplay in any sort of way, it makes me look better, or like I just think looks cool.
Yep.
So like I definitely pick and choose what I want to spend my money on, but I definitely do help contribute to this newish way of gaming.
I want to touch on what you're talking about with Destiny specifically, because I'm very much in the same boat. I will say, Matt knows this very well, and we've been clanmates for a while, so you know kind of my issues in history with Destiny a little bit. Like, I've taken some big breaks from this game before. I'm fully back and committed now. And like you said, I'm buying things from Eververse. I didn't buy a single thing for what is this Festival Lost? I think it's all cheesy. Like, it's about picking and choosing.
Yeah.
I will say, had Bungie not split from Activision, I would not be buying things from Activision. Like, I made that like very clear to myself. Like, I only started buying stuff from Eververse after the split.
Yeah.
That was a big deal for me. I know kind of where my money is going now, what it's contributing to. And I do think that they're doing a really good job with how they did the season pass for this year. Like, even if you're, a free tier player, you're getting cool stuff as you level up. You're just getting some better stuff if you paid, I think, $20 more, for Shadowkeep.
I forget the exact breakdown.
It was like basically buying like the game at full price.
I think the season itself was $10. Shadowkeep as an expansion was like $30 or something like that. So there's a little bit of confusion when you say, "Oh, I got Shadowkeep," but did you get
Right.
There's a little confusion there. But I think the season itself, aside from Shadowkeep the expansion, I think that's only $10.
Yeah.
So it sounds like Bungie got the clan in the divorce.
Yeah. I'm not going to give you anything for that.
That's okay. I'm just saying that's what it sounds like. At least they got you.
Yeah, they did. They did get me. They got me.
I do like that you called a clan though. It's so exciting.
Well, that's what they're called in
It's just exciting.
MMOs. They're clan. Yeah, clans.
I haven't played any.
Our clan is called Grasp My Malaks. Malak is a
Mine is
Hive
the
character.
Kushaholics, which is very ironic.
since you don't smoke.
I have never smoked weed.
As far as some of my personal experiences, before I got into Destiny, I was a big Star Trek Online player. I really wanted to get into like those online kind of games, like Star Wars: The Old Republic. I wanted to get into. I couldn't. I was playing Star Trek Online on my PC when I used to have a PC, and then I just, it was becoming a lot of money because I wanted to buy ships, and this is exactly what they want you to do. They don't want you to use the games, the ships that you get in the game. They want you to buy the really big fancy ones, and I was spending a lot of money doing that. And then they ported the game over to PlayStation, and I was like, this is awesome. Oh no. None of your items that you played on PC transfer over, and that was the end of my relationship with Star Trek Online. I think every single person at this table knows the whole debacle with Star Wars Battlefront 2. I was someone who was willing to give them the benefit of the doubt at launch. I didn't cancel my pre-order. I played the game. I realized how fucked up everything was, and I stopped playing it, and it's on my PS4 now. But I haven't fully recovered from that kind of breach of trust that EA did.
No,
I also have it, but I haven't even played it.
Like, I know people have said like it's far better experience, but like you, like I was so burned.
Yeah.
Because I remember I started playing it and I was getting destroyed by people that had these like premium mods.
It wasn't
and I'm like,
fun.
what the fuck is happening? Like, I'm shooting this dude and he just turns around and just pow.
Which is a goddamn shame because it's a beautiful game. The gameplay is fun. The graphics are ridiculous. It's a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I know there is a community for it, but I feel like it didn't really recover. I mean, they basically have made everything that comes out for that game now completely free. Which is nice, but like I'm playing Destiny.
Yeah,
and I'm playing Fallen.
Yeah.
And speaking of Destiny, like, they got me back. I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if I would have gone back to the game had they not broken from Activision, because I feel like I got burned. Like, I really called it quits after Warmind. And then I heard about the split, and we were talking about it on the show.
I pushed it on you pretty hard.
Did.
I did.
And listen,
And he's never looked back.
I haven't, man. I love it. And like, listen, I don't play it every day. I used to play it every day. I go in and like if I need to get something done, I'll go do it.
I'm kind of at that point as well.
But I love it, and I like I said, you said, I love our community. I love what Bungie does for some charities. I think that they are more so than not a very good company. So, that's kind of where I am personally. Let's get into what works well and what we don't think works well with this. And Billy, we'll start with you and we'll go around this way this time.
Sure. I think, generally speaking, I think what works well is when, microtransactions or I wouldn't say DLC. Like, I think I want to separate those two because when I think of DLC, I think more like expansions or stories or like, a group of missions or something like that. What I'm thinking is like more microtransactions is more like cosmetics and stuff like that. So what I think what works well is when microtransactions are strictly cosmetic, they don't enhance gameplay. They just make you look better or, they just make you feel better.
Yeah.
What doesn't work well is, like Julian said, like the Battlefront 2 pay to win models.
Pay to win. Such a big term in gaming right now too.
Yeah. Which actually I don't think many people have even really tried.
Yeah.
Again, really?
Battlefront 2, I think, Battlefront 2.
No, that was such a backlash.
Yeah, and if there are, games that are doing this, they're definitely on the not as popular. So like, they're not getting as much coverage. But what doesn't work well, and like something that I have an issue with, like Destiny, for example, is like they have a lot of cosmetics that I like and that I want to buy, but I feel like their pricing for these cosmetics are just they just don't equal out. Like
I feel that there's no consistency.
There's zero consistency. Like a Sparrow, the bike you ride could be like 3,000 bright dust or like $10 in silver, whatever that is. But then like the next Sparrow could be 1,200 bright dust that equals whatever that equals.
The little skeleton outfits they sell for festival are like $15.
Did not go anywhere near those.
No, I haven't either.
I didn't get those either. However, what they are doing with that is that if you get some of those items through the bright dust store, then they'll reduce the paid version, that way like you get a slight discount there. But and again, with going back to Bungie, because that's predominantly what I play in terms of games as a service. So I apologize if I'm talking about Destiny a lot, but that's really
but it's a really good example. It's the best example of kind of what's working well right now. I think as well.
What I don't like that what they've started to do is previously you get these bright engrams, and then you have a chance to earn these rewards just by playing, which they have the battle pass as well. But now all of their bright engrams you're just getting past items. You're not getting any current items.
No, and they absolutely should be current items.
And you don't get bright dust for breaking them down.
You don't get bright dust anymore. Bright dust is only through some bounties, not all.
Yeah,
and you don't get very much. Like I think I
get
started
200 for the weeklies and like 10 I think for the dailies,
something like that.
5 or 10.
I think I started the season with 20,000 bright dust, and I'm down to like 4,000, and that's only after buying maybe 5 items or something like that. So generally, I think what works well is when it's strictly cosmetic and a good pricing structure. What doesn't work well is pay to win, and then where the pricing gets kind of iffy.
I mean, like my thing is that stuff when people say like it's just cosmetic, I still have an issue with that because basically you're tapping into the whole FOMO, the fear of missing out. Because don't get me wrong, like somewhere in the back of my mind with the skeleton things, I'm like, man, those are gonna go away, and I'm not gonna be able to get them. Maybe I'll drop some money to get them, and but that's the thing though, is that I'm now playing into what they want me to do. Is they want me to see people running around with this, this cool little skeleton neon armor and stuff like that, and drop the money because it's and that sucks. Like I don't like that. I actually prefer the original way that, and much like Billy, Destiny's pretty much my only games as a service thing that I really play at this point. Just because I don't have the time to play all these other games, that constantly need my daily attention. And like Julian, I kind of I used to do Destiny every day when the Shadowkeep first came out. Now I'm kind of at the point where I can go okay, I can put it off for a few days and then I can worry about some other stuff.
I just realized I have to finish the stupid Vanguard First Watch in order to get my Undying seal, and I'm not happy about that. So I'm going to have to grind the hell out of Lake of Shadows this week. Ugh. Anyway.
Yeah, but the thing is that I'm a little more accepting of Bungie doing it because they don't have a big
Al
publisher.
Bundy?
What's that?
You said
whatever. Bungie. Whatever.
Sorry.
God damn it, I'm on 3 hours of sleep. But I'm okay with Bungie doing it a little. I'm a little more accepting of them because I know that they don't have a big daddy giving them millions of dollars and telling them what to do, and so on and so forth. I loathe it when EA, Ubisoft, when all those companies do it. I'm you're a multi-billion-dollar company. Some of the money is not good enough. I guess all of the money is what you want.
Yeah.
And I understand a business is a business, but it's, and as I said, like there's tons of stuff out on the internet about how they try and take advantage of people that are ill, and for lack of a better word, that have shopping compulsions and stuff like that. And I played FIFA Ultimate Team back in the day, and I spent money on that shit until literally like I broke off from it because I was like, I'm not getting everything year to year. Like nothing transfers, and I've spent like $100, $200 or more dollars on like buying like these coins and shit like that.
It's interesting how the whole Ultimate Team, aspect of both, like, it's FIFA, it's Madden, it's NHL, how that is kind of, it's been talked about in the news, but it's mostly slipped under the radar, even though that's going back to EA and their whole bullshit with Battlefront 2. Because that's a big deal. Like you said, like people are spending hundreds of dollars on, Ultimate Team stuff.
Well, and that's the thing though, is that, but like FIFA 20, which I own, the thing is that it got hammered by people because it's like, you guys aren't really improving the career mode. It's like you're only worrying about your bullshit Ultimate Team. And like there was a big outcry about FIFA 20, and I'm hoping that like that forces EA for FIFA 21 to be like, all right, we're gonna work on career mode and get that to where it needs.
Where
to be.
the hell are my MLS stadiums?
I know it's a pain in the ass, but yeah.
No, I just agree with you guys on. We know what works and what doesn't as people that are buying these games.
Yeah.
So, like, I agree 100%. When you know it's DLC or something you want, it's fine. I'm fine with certain microtransactions existing as long as people have the option to be like, do I really want this outfit? Do I need this outfit? And also, is it priced at a point that makes sense? Mm-hmm. Like, if every gun in the game or every outfit in the game was all the same, like, either you have to do something in the game to get it or it's the same price to get it, that would make a lot more sense. But there are a lot of games that, depending on what interesting holiday is coming up or what event is calling up, they jack up the price or not. Also, depending on how well the game's doing or how many people they project to be playing it. So if the pricing is off or skewed in any way, then it's just like, it doesn't make sense because then you're throwing $100 here, $20 here, and it's just not equating to the same level of like happiness or enjoyment, I think, every time.
Yeah. For me, going back to kind of what we talked about near the beginning about like DLC and day one DLC, like that's no bueno for me. Like that's no good. Like don't release the game and be like, oh, by the way, here's some day one DLC. Like finish your game, delay it if you have to. Like I don't care, but finish your game. Now, if you come to me, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is a great example of this. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, like for a base $60 game, is one of the longest games and one of like the coolest, trying to get like platinum in that experience ever. And then after, a couple of months, the DLC that they did for that game, even though there was some controversy about the actual story, the price for the content, they did that absolutely right. Great additions to the story. I still haven't done all the DLC in that game. That's how expansive it is. And I think that is how it should work. You should be getting the bang for your buck with these DLCs. I think, I don't want to touch too much more on Destiny, what they did with the season pass now for Shadowkeep and going forward with, the season to season, it works really well. I enjoy that. So we're talking about how we play Destiny a lot. Brittany, you're kind of the odd woman out here because you don't play those kind of games, but like we devote a lot of time into Destiny. How does that, impact, our enjoyment or playtime for other games? And should it be impacting that?
I mean, for me, it does impact other games because right now on my plate, if you take out Destiny 2 out of the equation and Shadowkeep and all that, I have the Outer Worlds, I have Jedi Fallen Order, I have Borderlands 3, stuff that I can still do. I mean, and like basically the games as a service, as I said, like it wants your time. That's what it wants from you.
And it wants you consistently.
Yeah, it wants you consistently. And, much like both of you, like I've invested so much time, I'm just like, I really just want to drop this for a while and just, do something else.
And I don't want to get to that point with Destiny where I want to like take a year-long break, which is why I'm not playing every day anymore.
Yeah, no, and I'm like you, like I'm just at the point where I'm just like, all right, I'm going to do like my weekly bounties for my pinnacle weapons and armor and stuff like that. It does very much affect my playtime because now I have to kind of be a little more judicious with the games I want to play with. Like, all right, do I want it, like after I'm done here, I'm going to go play Fallen Order for a little while, and try and do some more of that. And then I would like to go back to the Outer Worlds, a game that I adore nonstop. But like, as I said, I don't have enough time to do all this stuff. So
Destiny takes up a lot of my time, and not nearly as much as it did when it first came out. And I'm not a D1 veteran, just at this point a D2 veteran, I guess. Yeah, I think I've clocked in like 1,000 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
Which in comparison to some of the members in our clan are a fraction.
I know.
So
Yeah.
when it comes to other games, like my backlog is, there's a lot in my backlog. So it's hard to find time to play other games that don't necessarily need your time on a day-to-day basis. But because like then there's like, you know, there's an event going on in Destiny. Okay, but that event's now over. But now, but like the new raid's coming out. Okay, but now we got to go do that. But then like, but like, you know, 7 people in our clan are like 50 levels above us or have all these other things. So now you have to feel like you have to catch up to them.
Yeah, there's a little bit of FOMO.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
And they bank on that, though, because then you're spending more time playing their game and possibly making more transactions there versus playing a story-driven single-player game.
Yeah, and like, I love Destiny. I love playing it. But like, there was like, I want to play Jedi Fallen Order. But it's like, this morning I was like, do I want to play Jedi Fallen Order or do I want to play some Destiny? Because I got to catch up a little bit. And so I decided to play Destiny. I was like, I want to try to get a little bit more of that momentum control or whatever. Is that what that is called?
momentum control.
Momentum control.
Yeah.
I want to get some of that in, try to get a little bit more of my Randy's. That's a gun. So
Randy's throwing knives.
throwing knives.
No, you're good.
All these
Randy
weapons that I'll
for
never
Destiny
get because
right
I don't play comp.
But yeah, so like I hopped on Destiny this morning and I was like, but I kind of really want to play Jedi Fallen Order, but Destiny really needs my time right now. And then like, it's like, I know tonight we're going to probably have 5 people in the clan be like, who wants to raid? And it's like, well, I've only done the raid once and I really need those pinnacle rewards. So do I do that or do I do Jedi? But then it's like, but I also have a life too. It's like, you know, me and my fiance, it's like, we got to go to the movies tonight. We're going to the movies tonight. Oh, that's great. Okay, let's do that. You know, like I want to devote all my time to her and then, you know, I want to play these other games. And then this one game, takes up so much of my time.
It's like having a new baby.
Yo,
That's what.
I
No,
don't even-
I'm just hearing you say
The
this.
baby's
and it
crying. The raid
literally
needs me.
Sounds like that.
yeah, but I love Destiny and I love, you know, aspects of games as a service because like I have made so many friends in Destiny. I really enjoy the community. I really enjoy engrossing myself in that world and it's really solid gameplay too. On top of like everything else, it's just like a really good game. Like it's a really good game to play. But then there's a whole bunch of these other things that like, you know, divert my attention and all those other things are great. And it's just trying to balance all that together.
Destiny 2 is the bane of my existence right now in that order, because the one thing I don't like with how the seasons is working is some of the stuff that I want to get and that I'm working on right now, I have to do this season because otherwise it goes away. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
But like you, I have a wife. I have 2 kids. I have Control that I'm playing. I have Jedi Fallen Order that I'm getting. Part of the reason that I hated Destiny, or I started to hate Destiny, was because it was just sucking my soul away. It was taking my time. So I'm trying to balance like how much time I play in Destiny. Like, okay, I drop Cecily off at school. I'm going to play Destiny in the morning and then I'm going to work on my other games. But it's hard because like there's stuff I want to work on in there, but I'm a giant Star Wars junkie. Like I want to explore for hours in Fallen Order and trying to manage that. And if you play World of Warcraft, if you play, you know, Knights of the Old Republic, whatever that Star Wars online game is, any online game, you're going to have a backlog of games. Like I maybe want to play Outer Worlds. It looks fun. Yeah. I'm never going to get it because I have to pick and choose. I have a Switch. I haven't touched my Switch in months and I got Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which I played all of 10 minutes of. To the point where this has become such an issue, I'm thinking about trading my Switch in.
Oh, wow.
Because I don't have time for it. It's great
And
to
that's
bring
when
on
you know Destiny's doing really well.
right.
They're like, we made this man.
We broke
He gave up on his life. He sold his Switch.
Let's close out with, you know, obviously this is, you know, games as a service are very prevalent, prominent right now. You know, what do we think the future of games as a service are, you know, as we head into the next console generation? Because we're getting there.
All right, I made my Back to the Future joke too soon, apparently.
Yeah, you did. You did.
I don't know. I feel like games as a service is going to keep continuing on. Maybe, hopefully, they'll all try to make more adjustments that they're more likable or more, I guess, fulfilling, like Destiny is to you guys. But, I mean, I don't see microtransactions or, like, loot boxes or anything like that changing too much anytime soon unless, like, the law really gets involved and it is a crackdown on, like, gambling or people taking advantage. But with the world we live in, I doubt that's going to happen anytime.
Yeah. Billy, I'm actually going to go back to you.
Sure. Honestly, I'm not really sure. They're definitely going to stick with loot boxes. They're definitely going to probably even evolving this like battle pass and seeing where that goes, I wouldn't surprise me if games just start coming out as a subscription model, and it's not even something you own entirely at all whatsoever. It's just more like a kind of like going back to like World of Warcraft in a lot of ways, and you're like
monthly subscription.
Yeah, monthly subscription, and that's exactly, you don't have to pay upfront the $60. It's just $10 a month, $15 a month, and you have access to
free
the survey.
to play, quote unquote, but pay for our service.
Yeah. Hopefully, at least the microtransactions stick to cosmetics, and there is no free to play models going forward, which I don't really think that is, and if so, like there'll be a lot of backlash for that. But I'm not really sure where it's going to go, especially with the new generation of consoles. I think they're going to stick to what works, and right now what works is loot boxes and battle passes and some of these microtransactions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I have a much darker outlook on the future of gaming because...
It's because you watch Batman. He's being edgy.
No, but the thing is
Goddamn
that like
Bruce Wayne.
The thing is that any slight crack of like to make a little more money, I promise you the video games industry is going to do it.
For sure.
Like there is no way that they're going to just be like,
do it.
There's no way that they're going to be like, oh, we could make a little more money here, but let's not do that, guys. That's putting too much on our fan base. Like, no, they will do it. They've already shown that they will do it. I do think that what is eventually going to happen is I have a feeling that lawmakers are going to start getting involved in some of the more egregious examples of games as a service, of loot boxes and all the other fun stuff. It's already happening in Europe. Belgium banned basically loot boxes in FIFA, and EA, rather than saying, okay, we'll work something out, EA was like, we're going to fight this. And I don't think they won. I don't know the current stance on it. The UK has been doing extensive studies and has shown that there is like an addiction to loot boxes and such, like a gambling addict has. And so the UK is now kind of starting to wake up to it. And basically, I think that like the United States will take much longer just because we have more of a pro-corporate good style of government than much of Europe does. But I think what'll happen is that as places like Europe or Belgium start either coming down hard or removing these loot boxes and stuff like that, people in the United States would be like, well, they don't have to deal with this bullshit. Why do I?
Yeah.
And I think that it'll take time, but also at the same time, I also have a very dim view of the gaming community because unfortunately, like what happened with Blizzard and Hong Kong and all that stuff, like it's been totally forgotten because they released the video for Diablo 4.
Yeah. I have a more positive outlook than you. I think that gamers are smart. I think they're very smart. There's also like Instagram has influencers, gamers have streamers, and people who are having direct impacts on some of these companies. Look what happened with Battlefront 2. It's a great example. Like Billy said, or maybe it was Brittany, whoever said it, it hasn't been tried since. Like, I think that developers are afraid of the law. I think that they have to worry about people who can go on who have hundreds of thousands of subscribers and then say, don't buy this game or don't play this anymore because they're ripping you off. And then all of a sudden no one's playing their game anymore. I think that we are a strong community, and I do think that the law in the United States will get involved at some point. So I have a little bit of a more positive outlook.
Sounds like Les Mis.
It does.
Do you hear the gamers sing?
Oh my God.
That's what it sounded like.
Anyway, that does it for our games as a service segment. Billy, this was great. This was a really cool idea, and I hope it's educated some people as well into kind of what the current state of gaming is right now.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks. You the best.
Woo, woo, woo. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to review Dr. Sleep. Stick around. Welcome back to the show, and we are now reviewing the Shining sequel, Dr. Sleep.
I just wanted to match you.
You did a good job. We got it that time. Guys, this movie was incredible, fantastic, loved it. Can't wait to talk about it.
It's been like 3 days, and I'm still thinking about it.
Brittany, you can't stop talking about it. You even mentioned it on our Mandalorian special.
You mentioned it too, though.
I did, but I'm still
good.
calling you out.
I also had a weird dream the other night, and I think it was because of Dr. Sleep. But we'll get into that. It like woke me up. I was like freaked out, and then I was like, no, I'm fine.
That
I
happened
think
to
was
me.
from that movie.
That happened to me after we saw It Chapter 2.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Both those movies fucked with me
Spooky.
pretty hard. It was
You know,
bad.
I actually had the worst nightmare after Midway, but it's just because I woke up and I was like, oh God, I saw this horrible film, and then I was like, oh no, it was real. That wasn't a dream at all.
It's amazing, right? We saw in the span of 2 weeks, like a really horrible movie and a really, really great movie.
Yeah.
But that's how these things go, I guess. Fuck Midway for destroying this movie in the box office right now. By the way, like it's killing me. It's really making me upset. As always, before we get into our thoughts and review of the actual movie, we have to talk about the Rotten Tomatoes score. And for the most part, everything seems pretty even. It is certified fresh by Rotten Tomatoes at 76%, and the audience score is 90%. Pretty good.
No. I mean, like, the audience score for most movies always seems to be higher than the critic score because, you know, critics are critics and they kind of look with a more critical eye at movies than an
Wait,
audience
I'm
member
sorry.
does.
Did Matt just make a pun?
I wasn't trying to make one
did.
intentionally, but, you know.
Oh, Matt, but I mean, congratulations. Well done.
Oh, Jesus.
You son of a bitch.
You make
I make a joke.
no, you make
I don't get claps.
no, you make puns like every 5 minutes. Matt makes one once every like 15 episodes, so I think that deserves some, clapping.
Yeah, but the audience score does surprise me a little bit, but also at the same time it doesn't, just because like I feel like people that would love this movie would be the ones that like go to Rotten Tomatoes and like rating it fresh or whatever. So
I think as like being in the audience and watching this movie, like if you made it to this movie, if you already were going to see it, like you get drawn into it and you're in it. So like if you made it to the theater to see it, you're gonna give it a thumbs up.
And like you said, like there's a specific person going to see this movie.
Yeah,
like,
you had to have already liked The Shining,
Right,
or
either
been a
the
Stephen
movie or
King
the book,
fan,
yeah, exactly,
or
yeah.
had read the book.
Yep.
And if you were somebody who, in some way, liked all three of those things and or did all three of those things, then you were like definitely there.
Having said that, obviously Dr. Sleep was a book first, like The Shining. At the same time, you know, we all didn't really know we needed this as like a movie sequel, you know, especially like 40 years more than that. It was 1980 The Shining came out.
something like
While
that.
ago,
Yeah,
80
you
or
know,
79 or something like that.
but it turns out we needed the sequel very much because it was fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they really marketed it very well.
No.
Like people that, I mean, I didn't even see that many trailers for it, but when I did see a trailer for it at the movie theater, I knew that it was like, this is the sequel to The Shining. I remember when this book came out in like 2013 or something.
Yeah, that's when it came out.
Yeah, because I was in college and I was like, oh, cool, he wrote a sequel to The Shining. I bought it for my mom. I still haven't read it, but
I didn't know
do
that the
have
book
friends
was
that
that
read it.
recent.
Yeah, I didn't
it's
either.
a very recent book. But like then when they were making the movie for it, I was like, oh, that's really cool. Then I'll go see it. I was hoping I'd read the book first, but I didn't. But at the same time, there's a lot of people that didn't know this probably had anything related to The Shining unless they saw a trailer for it, if they did, and if they put the two together, if they even saw The Shining. So there's a lot of people that probably saw the trailer, didn't get anything, or were like, I don't really want to see this. It's also not Halloween. It's a lot of
And that was one of my big rants, I think 2 weeks ago or the week before. You know, this movie should have been released in October. I think it also would have done better. Except, you know, you put it that same release weekend on Veterans Day as Midway. I mean, what do you expect to happen? But and that kind of goes into marketing. Do we think that one of my friends mentioned that maybe they should have called Dr. Sleep The Shining too? But I think that would be a disservice to the movie.
that sounds yucky.
It does.
Or The Shining, Dr. Sleep, or Dr. Sleep, The Shining.
Yeah, or what they could have put in the poster, like the sequel to The Shining. Or
Dr.
something
Sleep,
like
a Shining story.
Oh God, no. That only works for Star Wars. Yeah, I think they just could have marketed it better with trailers or like promoted it. Like cross-promotional material could have helped people understand that this is like this is a Shining sequel. This is from this book. Instead of just being like, Stephen King's Dr. Sleep. Because some people are like, is that the one with the clown? No, that just came out. Okay, I don't need to see this.
I mean, the trailers I did see for Dr. Sleep, it very much did point out the fact that it's a Shining sequel.
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
you know,
100%.
use the music, and I remember Ewan McGregor saying like, "Oh, I called it the Shine," and stuff
And they
like
show
that.
like the Overlook Hotel.
Yeah, and they show, you know, the door, the holes in the door that his dad carved with the axe and all that
Maybe
stuff.
me more than anyone. The minute that it said Red Rum, I was like, oh,
Oh,
Shining
no,
sequel.
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Well, that's
Come
what I'm
on.
saying. It's because
Yeah.
if you've seen The Shining, you know.
Yeah.
But for people that probably didn't even see The Shining, they're just like, I don't get anything about this trailer. What is this?
Yeah, I don't think that they invested a ton in the marketing budget for this movie. They were just like, oh, whatever.
They
we'll
knew the
just-
people that would see it.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know what its financials are right now.
It's like at 14 million, and they're saying it's probably going to lose money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's a shame. I mean,
It's a damn shame.
Because visually and the set design was so good. You know they're losing money right now.
yeah.
So go see it.
We're going to get into our thoughts here, but I think it's important to say, like, this for me is film of the year worthy.
Yeah,
I
I actually think it's one of my favorite films.
I think it
of the year.
deserves Oscar nominations. I think it deserves a lot of praise and credit. And instead, fucking Roland Emmerich and his douchebaggy Midway bullshit.
This is for Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. That movie shouldn't even be remotely up for an Oscar. But this one, the performances in this movie, I am still thinking about that one scene.
And we're
going to
we'll
get
get
into
there.
it. But Jacob Tremblay is in this movie, which I didn't even know he was going to be in it. And then the scene he is in, I was like, holy shit.
Let's actually get right down
I'm
to
still
it.
unsettled.
Brittany, we'll start with you. Your initial thoughts on Dr. Sleep, or your overall thoughts on Dr. Sleep.
Oh, man. I don't even know where to begin. You were sitting next to me in the theater. And the thing is, like, for the beginning of the movie, I tried not to even talk. I was just trying to take it all in. But there were certain moments where, like, I saw the way they did shots or, like, the way the set design was, that it kept hinting back to certain things from The Shining, especially if you watched it recently to, like, re-jog your memory. But it did just pull you in. And right away, starting off with, like, the flashback to the Overlook Hotel, but really he's, like, waking up from a dream and, like, still being bothered by that. Oh,
You and I
can't.
kept on, like, whispering over
Yeah.
to each other and, like,
Yeah.
freaking out, like, at those specific moments when,
Yeah.
like, it wasn't like a cheesy callback.
Yeah, it's not cheesy.
It worked.
Yeah.
Like him rolling on the carpet and
in that long scene where you're just following him, and it's the iconic carpet too later on that they show.
the sounds
Yeah.
of it. One of the most iconic things from The Shining, if you're a big Shining fan, is the sound editing when, the sound rolling from when he's on the carpet to the wood. Like, that's something
It's
that
the
people
wood and
actually
back.
talk about. Yeah, and they did it again in this. It's just like,
And the fact that he stops in front of that door, and you already know if you saw the original movie, you're like, oh no, this is like the room.
which you
It's really
never
good.
actually
That's right
see
in it.
him go in. Like, you don't see what happens with him, and you see a little bit of that in this.
Yeah. So I do like that you see a lot more of like Danny's perspective.
Yep.
And anyway, I just want to go around in a circle because I'm going to keep adding
Yeah,
things.
go
in.
ahead.
I don't want to rant for
Matt,
30
your,
minutes.
your,
and then
your
get to
initial
you.
thoughts.
No, I love the movie. Like, honestly, I didn't know what to expect from it. Like, I thought it was going to be a horror movie. Like, all right, Stephen King, there's might be some jump scares or whatever like that, but it was so much more than that. Like, it was like I would almost call it more of like a dramatic thriller.
Yes.
In a way.
It was
like,
for sure.
Like, and I mean, it's and I hate to say this, but like, not a lot of people will probably appreciate this movie, and I could see it being a cult hit in like a few years down the road. Of like, people like, look, if you're really into films, like Dr. Sleep is your movie that you want to watch.
One of those like midnight roadhouse shows you go to at the theater. Like,
Yeah,
with,
I mean,
like,
It's
like-minded
definitely a
people.
sleeper hit. Come on, it is though. For real though, I do see this as like a cult. Like 20 years from now, people go back and they'll be like, "This is one of the finest like horror or thriller ever made," and people didn't see it enough when it came out. Like, I get it now.
Yeah, like the cinematography, the acting. I mean,
The characters too. Like,
the girl who plays oh god, what's
Abra?
Abra, thank you. I wasn't gonna say
you're
Argo.
welcome.
Yeah.
I was blown away by her performance.
No, she nailed, like, she crushed it. I mean, I was like, God damn, she's amazing.
She was ridiculously good. She was really good. And Brittany and Matt, I think we all talked about it in the car, the scene specifically when he shines into her, takes over her body when
Yeah.
she's been drugged,
Yeah.
and she's acting as Danny / Ewan McGregor
in the car.
that was some amazing acting.
Yeah.
Can
And they
somebody
switched the eyes, too,
can
so
somebody
colors.
go on their phone
I
for me?
already have that up.
Do you
What
have
her
it?
name
I'm
is?
not her name, but the actor who plays Rose the Hat.
Rebecca
Oh, yeah.
Ferguson.
Yeah, I
is
was
her
gonna say.
name.
Rebecca Ferguson, and
She did a really
For
incredible
me,
job.
what was amazing about her character, one, there I mentioned it in the car ride home, the advertising there is for this movie is saying that she's going to go down in like the horror baddie Hall of Fame.
She should.
100% agree. The reason being for that is not only because she was scary as fuck and just really good. I had no idea it was Rebecca Ferguson, and I know Rebecca Ferguson. She's in some of the new
Yeah.
Mission Impossible movies. She's in some other like really good like British films. She
played a very different
and I
character.
had no idea it
Yeah,
was her until I
nice.
looked it up at home, and that is always the sign of a really great performance. Creepy.
There's a lot of really
Like-
unsettling scenes with her. Like obviously, if you're gonna see the film, it's about this group of people that goes around in a caravan. They're not really quite people anymore, but they basically eat the shine from people, and they specifically target children because that's where the shine is like the brightest, or
The
it's
most
untainted
tasty.
by society, basically. So right away, the first scene you see her in, the girl wanders off from her mom to go pick flowers and comes across her, and she's, talking about, oh, I'm magic too. Like, look at my hat. It's a magic hat. My name is Rose the Hat. And it's so, that scene, okay, that's what messed me up. I had a nightmare about that because the way the other people appear in the forest, they just pop up and then they stare for a long time without doing anything. Ugh.
That is, like, you could tell a lot from, I said this about Fallen Order as well, you could tell a lot about games and movies in their first 5 or 10 minutes. And the first 5 minutes when she, they take the little girl is just like, I'm in.
You're like, I know the tone of this film. It's freaky.
Well, not only do I know the tone, but like I'm in, I'm committed. I want to know who these people are. I want to know what's going to happen. I want to talk about specifically the scene that we're all talking about here, because it actually had a pretty big effect on Rebecca Ferguson. Is even for rated R horror movies, okay, when there's scenes involving children, they kind of tend to shy away from. They
do the pan, like, or something like that. Like, they grab the kid, you hear the kid yelling,
even if it's rated R and like it says like gore, blah blah blah. They don't show that with children. Well, Dr. Sleep took it a step further, which I'm appreciative to. Like, it made you think. It fucks you up a little bit. This little boy, they kidnap
number 19.
Yeah, number 19.
On the baseball team.
They kill him, and they don't show the bloods and guts, but you know exactly what's happening to this kid.
They show some of the blood.
They show
yeah,
the blood.
They show some blood.
They don't
splatter.
shy away what's happening. They are gutting this kid.
They kidnap him because he has the shine. They tie him down immediately in the middle of this ethanol plant that's run down.
Yeah, abandoned plant. Yeah.
And they literally tell the kid before they do anything that, like,
this is gonna hurt.
This is gonna hurt a lot. And also the way they get the shine out of people is they say it's out of fear or out of pain. So the kid's like, no, I won't tell anybody. Like, don't do this. And he starts like screaming. Like, this actor is so good. He's the little kid in Room, if any of you have seen Room. And I knew back then, I was like, this kid's like 5 years old and selling this performance, or like 6, so he's gonna be insane. But yeah, she just pulls out that knife, and then she's cutting him and like gutting him and doing all these horrible things, and you just see the blood like splatter up and
his screaming is just like,
and they call it steam, like like
it comes out like
he kind of breathes it out, and they're all like
they're
all
like
like
breathing
sucking it up and everything.
Oh, and the way they shot that too is so creepy.
Without showing, they do show blood, but without showing any gore, it is one of the most psychologically gruesome scenes I've seen in a horror movie or in film in general. Yeah, in a very long time.
Because he's like screaming and such the whole time.
It goes on for a long time. Nobody's coming to help him. Someone across to the East Coast is hearing him like while she's asleep, dying, and can't do anything. She's screaming for help. Ugh, and it really did affect the crew. Like, you sent that link.
So yeah, I do want to talk about that. Rebecca Ferguson has a 12-year-old son, the same age as this boy is supposed to be, and someone on the set, some rando, she said, apparently was like, "Do you need a minute? Like, are you going to be okay with this?" And she was admittedly said, like, "I'm cocky. I'm an actor. Of course I'm going to be fine with this." She goes, "The minute I heard him scream and the minute we stopped shooting the scene, I broke down." And I think she apologized to the guy.
And she messed up her lines. Like, a lot of the actors around him, like, she was stuttering through her lines while doing it.
Like that scene was so brutal. Like, it had an effect. So that they put their hearts and souls into these performances.
Yeah.
We'll kind of go around again. Brittany, some more overall.
Oh man, it's just so hard. I feel like I could rant about this for hours, so I'm trying to keep it short and concise. I will say set design was a huge thing in this movie that really got me, because there's so much that throws back to the original movie, and they tried to match things so perfectly, or as close as they can do in such a big time gap. Especially when he's back in the Overlook Hotel, like even the carpets, like the shot for shot, and the fact that he's standing there with the axe like his mother did while his father walked up the stairs, and Rose the Hat is doing it this time, like. You could do shot
and it was still
for
like
shot
almost an
exactly.
exactly.
So yeah, the cinematography, just the way there's like certain long takes where they're like, a lot of other modern movies would not do that now. So I was just like drawn in, and I was like, this feels like The Shining, but in a way that complements The Shining, and it's not like they're trying to be The Shining again.
I am amazed 100% amazed at how they were able to recreate that so precisely and perfectly, from the cigarette machine to the coffee machine to the elevator, from that iconic scene with the blood rushing down.
Even the actors like filling in as Jack Nicholson and Scatman Crothers and all that, like they did a pretty damn good job like matching these people.
The guy who's replacing Scatman Crothers, he plays John Jones, the Martian Manhunter's father on Supergirl, and I was like shocked to see him in this. It was like it was really cool. He was really good.
Yeah.
And it didn't take away when they replaced them with different actors to like shoot the older scenes. I was okay with it because I'm like, this is fine. I'm not so focused on them being not the original actors. They got the feeling, and that's important.
Yeah, I mean, like Brittany, I could probably rave about this movie for a long time. I liked that the movie kind of showed what somebody with shine could do, about like they kind of have different abilities and stuff like that. That like, all right, you know, because in the original Shining, it was like, okay, he can like talk to, you know, Tony and stuff like that.
Daddy's not here right now, Mrs. Torrance.
Yeah, and stuff like that. And like I actually appreciated that this movie, like, all right, this is why having shine is a big deal, because, you know, the kid, he was a good baseball player because he literally was reading the pitcher's mind before he threw the pitch.
Yep.
And stuff like that. And obviously like Abra was like crushing.
Telekinetic
OP.
amazing.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
and the whole scene, and the whole scene when
The illusion
Rose
scene?
like finds her and she's flying across the
Yes,
planet,
so
and that whole the
cool. Oh my God.
cinematography and how she's moving, and then when she goes into Abra's mind and she's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna read your thoughts,
And it's like a library,
and
right?
finds out that Abra like set a trap, and Abra is just like goes into her mind. She's like going through and she's like
Yeah.
flipping through
That
this.
whole
And
thing with the hand.
Yeah.
And it really connected more of like Stephen King's universe, because like the mind library thing pops up in like Dreamcatchers and other stories. And obviously,
Oh,
like,
and
the
it
shine,
to a point too, right? Yeah.
And the shine manifests like it's a way. I mean, Dark Tower is supposed to like connect everything, and like the
Yeah.
shine is another thing that connects to that. It's like he said, he calls it a shine, but other people call it magic. Other people call it, you know, steam. All these different things. But even when he projects into Abra's mind in the car, like you see her eye color change.
Yeah.
And that connects to Dark Tower with the fact that you can see through somebody else's eyes or open a door that leads to another world. And as soon as like her eye color changed, but her whole personality changed, like that girl carried that.
Yeah.
And like you said, that dreamlike state when she's like looking for her, searching like for in order to enter her mind, it like flows so seamlessly and it's insane.
Yeah.
I'm really happy that this movie did come out around Halloween time into November, because I have a tradition, if I remember to do it and I have the time most years, of watching The Shining on Halloween. It is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. And I watched it this Halloween. It gives me such a better appreciation for, like you're talking about, the cinematography, the set design, the actors. One of the biggest things that I loved about this movie was Ewan McGregor as well.
He was really good. Yeah.
I didn't know from the previews how much I was going to like him as an older Danny Torrance. He blew it out of the water. Like Ewan McGregor
Hello there.
had to. Sorry. His even hit the way he did older Danny's voice. Like I somehow knew and believed that this
he was
was the
Danny.
older Danny Torrance. I like that they very much portrayed him in this movie as a broken man, because what happened to him, you know, at the Overlook would break anybody. And the fact that, you know, they don't shy away from the fact that he's become an alcoholic, and that he betters his life, and he's helping these people, you know, later on, years later, you know, through his shine, you know, pass into the next realm. And that whole line about how we don't, you know, we move on, you know,
Yeah.
we continue.
We move on after
Yeah.
we continue.
But
And he reflects on his dad. He gives his dad more character growth in an interesting way.
yeah,
also.
yeah, because he's almost forgiving to his father, which I wouldn't have been. I love this movie. I loved it. I already mentioned it. The basically exact recreation of every room in the Overlook Hotel, from the gold room and the bar. What an amazing scene that was, where he's basically talking to his dad. You know, they didn't shy away from the fact that this was filmed on Mount Hood in the original Shining, even though it was supposed to be Colorado, even though Mount Hood's in Portland. They still showed Mount Hood in the background, even though we're in Colorado.
Yep.
You know, I love that. But all the you know, all the kind of throwbacks to Kubrick, and, you know, the wide shots and all of that, I loved it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
loved
it's
it.
a good combination of what made the Kubrick film good in a certain way, and also staying true to Stephen King.
Because
They do
yeah.
change part of this from the book still. Like the ending is different, because in the original Shining book, the Overlook Hotel is destroyed at the end, whereas in this movie, it has to take place after the Shining movie, where it's not destroyed. It's just kind of abandoned. So they're able to go back into the movie, but they do it in a way that wraps up a lot of like narrative, and also does things in such a parallel or like foiled way that we as an audience enjoy it. But Stephen King was actually okay with this. Like the director came to him ahead of time, said, I want to do something right by both you and Kubrick. So like, this is how I'm doing it.
Because King had a massive issue with Kubrick's
Oh
film.
yeah. He absolutely was like, no, this isn't it. And then when he wrote Dr. Sleep, he was even like, you know what? Like, we thought The Shine, like, Danny would be fine because he's got The Shine and things are going to be happy. No, that's not this world.
Yeah.
And he wrote Dr. Sleep.
Anything else we want to add before we get to the, I have one more thing I want to touch on before we get to our film reel scores. Anything else?
No, I mean, like we could all, I think, rave about this movie for like hours and whatnot. I mean, I've encouraged people, like, look, go see it. If you have any of the slightest interest in it, go see it. It's worth seeing in theaters. It's a fantastic movie. The entire cast, like, everybody nails it. Like, there was not a single performance I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, everybody was just
We weren't even in a packed theater, and there were the few people in there were, like, yelling out loud.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Like, when Rose gets, like, knocked off the thing from the sheer power that Abra showed her.
Yeah.
Like, you were just like, oh, shit.
And like, and Abra's like knocks her through the supermarket and everything like that.
That
Like,
was awesome.
Yeah, it's a damn.
Last thing I want to ask here, guys, is do we think that this movie sets up any kind of potential world building? Do we maybe get a sequel to Doctor Sleep, or do we leave it as it is?
So, I mean, I think there's always potential for it because, and honestly, my first thought when Rose is like, you think we're the only ones that do this? Like, there's my first thought was like, Abra is gonna be like, all right, I'm going out to hunt them now.
Yeah.
Like, I want the knot, like the knot, I think is what they call it.
the true knot or
Yeah,
something.
the true knot is
The true knot, yeah. Like, that was my first thought was like, are they trying to set up the fact that like Abra is like, when she is fully a full adult, she's like, all right, it's time to
Nightmare on Elm Street 2, The Dream Warriors.
Yeah, meanwhile, like, Danny hid, and then she never hid. She showed her shine too much.
Yeah,
That's
and that's what, and I mean, and what Danny says to her at the end, he's like, shine on, Abra, like, you shine as bright as you can. So,
I love their dynamic, man.
yeah, I mean, that once again, that goes into the actors. Like,
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor and I think Kaylee Curran, I think is the
Yeah.
girl who played Abra. Like, they were amazing together. It was great to see.
I don't see them necessarily making a sequel to Dr. Sleep. Maybe they could explore more in some other fashion, but what I think is happening is that now that there's really funding behind like Stephen King stories as films, especially with how well it did, they're connecting it in a almost like not the MCU, but like a sort of cinematic universe, but a King
shared universe,
Yeah,
maybe,
because his
yeah.
books exist in a shared universe. A lot of them, not all of them necessarily, but the Dark Tower series did that. They connected them, and they're like, these all exist, and it all culminates together. And like that's, I mean, a lot of things happen in like Bangor, Maine, and stuff because he lives there.
Yeah.
But I see that as potentially happening with the films now. Like it and this film, if they said right now they happen in the same exact universe or around the same time period, like
It's believable.
for the modern thing,
Yeah.
it obviously that would connect. You'd be like, makes sense. There's totally this crazy clown thing because once again, Deadlights focused on children as well. Like these are supernatural beings that are existing in our world or are passing through for some weird reasons.
It is time for the EIP film reel score. Matt.
So honestly, I will give this movie a 5. I mean, as I said, there's like almost nothing about it that I really can nitpick. I mean, it tied everything together nicely. Like as I said, the actors nailed it. The cinematography was great. The effects were very good. I mean, the scene with, Jacob Tremblay being killed, like, tore me apart. Like, it was terrible to witness. So, I mean, a movie that can make me feel all these things, and I mean, yeah, the movie's a little long, but it was great though.
Yeah, I'm also going to give it a solid 5 out of 5. And just for the same reasons, like between the sound, the set design, the acting, the performances, and the entire story, I felt like it's a sequel I didn't even know I needed. And then I saw it and I was just like, this is probably the best sequel I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen some good sequels and some not so good sequels, obviously. And I really enjoy Stephen King, and I thought this was a way to finally kind of do the story justice that he would like, but then still stays true to the Shining film. At the same time, I'm like, I kind of want more, though. But if I do read the book, I might change my rating, depending on, because some people probably read the book and want the ending to be a certain way or vice versa. And it is a very drastic difference. But at the same time, I still get what they did, and I like it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, solid 5s across the board. I'm even going to take it a step further and say right now, for me, this is, my film of the year.
It's mine also.
Yeah. Film of the year, no doubt. I think it should get some, I have a feeling it will get some Oscar nods. At least I would hope. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
If there's any justice in the world, there'll be at least one Oscar nod.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my friend from college, her brother, she just told me, was one who worked on set design for this film.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because I was praising it on Facebook, and she was like, oh, my brother worked on that, and I'll pass it on because he's really proud of the work. And I'm just like, more people need to see
yes,
this.
please pass that on. Please,
Yeah.
please.
So good.
Go see Dr. Sleep. 5s across the board. That does it for episode 39. We're going on 40 next week, guys.
Oh boy.
Where's the
Wow.
excitement?
Oh no, I was just like, wow.
40 episodes. That's impressive.
That's awesome.
I feel like
Something.
50. I don't
50
know,
is the
50
big number.
50
I know
is
50 is the big number, but 40 is still.
Yeah, because that means like we do it pretty much weekly, so that's like 40 weeks.
It is. It's 40 weeks.
That's almost a whole year
More
worth of
than 40
content.
weeks because we used to be every other week. So.
Oh, true.
Well, episode 40 does mark the return of Bargain Bin Movie Night at Wade's Comic Madness. So we do have that to look forward to. 7 p.m. this Friday at Wade's Comic Madness. And we put it up to you for a vote. You voted, and we will be watching Matt Damon in The Great Wall. So 7 p.m. at Wade's Comic Madness. Again, Bargain Bin Movie Nights. We'll supply the soda. We'll provide the candy, the popcorn. We just need you. That does it for episode 39. For our guest, Billy Peitz, for Matt, for Brittany, I am Julian. We will see you next Tuesday. Have a good one.
You can find Everything is Permitted on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Everything is Permitted is produced by Rob Bigliaccio, Nikki Veazey, and Geneva Stein-Shivers. Our executive producers are Michael Cox, Brittany Tomes and the Tomes family, and Julian Brown.